From politicians destroying a TV studio during a heated debate to a journalist losing his pants in the middle of a live broadcast, here are the 10 most twisted and embarrassing sequences of the live broadcast. Let's get started. Many people tend to think that television reporters have easy, risk-free jobs, not to mention the very good salaries that come with them. But some of the footage on film shows us instead that a reporter can sometimes face much more than a gust of wind or a sudden downpour during an outdoor report. This BBC reporter, for example, will be literally submerged by a real tidal wave of lemurs. Making a report within the zoo of Barrowman, in Norfolk, he got a little too close to the enclosure of these mischievous primates. The lemurs then threw themselves on the reporter and started jumping on him, biting him here and there, clinging to his shoulders and neck. The poor reporter could do nothing but let the merry band of primates play their favorite game, although the expressions on his face seemed to indicate that he would like to get out of this furry tsunami as quickly as possible. Television journalists are very familiar with the hazards of live television, and generally know how to manage them well, thanks to their experience. But some situations can be totally embarrassing and unmanageable, like the one that will happen to this poor reporter from a New York television station. The young journalist was quietly recording his report on a campaign against fossil fuels, which was taking place in the Big Apple. But what was supposed to be a routine story for the young man soon turned into one of his worst nightmares. As he was addressing his audience live, a young onlooker came out from nowhere behind him and pulled down his pants until he discovered his skinny legs and hilarious pink underwear. Thanks to this naughty prankster, the whole of New York City knows the reporter's taste in underwear. The least that can be said from watching this sequence is that this poor journalist should have tightened his belt a little more before going live. Let's make a small parenthesis if you want. If you like this video, don't forget to give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive all the notifications. Let's go on. Political debates on television are usually tedious and monotonous, sometimes even causing some viewers to become drowsy. But not all political discussions are boring to death, and some are even so heated that they can destroy the recording studio altogether. The images you see in this sequence show us an argument between two politicians invited to a live broadcast, which increases until it turns into a real altercation at an interposed table. As you can see on the screen, the host of the debate tried to calm down his guests, but they were pissed off at each other and finally ended up in blows. And if their arguments seemed to lack strength throughout the debate, their arms were strong enough to break the great table that separated them. Moreover, without the intervention of the technical staff, the two rivals would probably have destroyed the whole studio, including cameras and microphones. The hair of the former President of the United States, the sulfurous and peroxidic Donald Trump, has often been laughed at. His half-blonde half-orange mane dominated the debates during the 2016 presidential elections for a very long time, as well as during most of his presidential term. Donald Trump's singular hair can indeed provoke hilarity or astonishment, but it certainly leaves no one indifferent. It is even said that the former president spent up to $70,000 a year on his iconic hairstyle when he hosted The Apprentice, the reality show that made him popular on the small screen. In this totally crazy sequence, you will see how a future president of the United States of America lets his hair be stroked by the star host of a talk show. A guest on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, Trump was quietly promoting his presidential campaign when the issue of his hair was raised by the mischievous host. Eventually, he will ask Donald Trump to let him touzle his hair, as one might do with a young child. The future president was going to directly concede to him to please him, letting the host Jimmy Fallon play with his strange mane. So, here's a video that is, to say the least, absolutely far-fetched. The Golden Globes are, along with the Oscars, one of the most prestigious film awards in the United States. It is therefore not surprising to see Hollywood's most emblematic stars rubbing shoulders with each other, gathered together for their nominations for the various awards. But if we linger a bit on this crowd of stars from the small and big screen, we finally realize that they are just like us, normal people with strictly human reactions. Look at the expression on Leonardo DiCaprio's face when he is pushed into his chair by Lady Gaga. The singer, wearing crazy dresses, was indeed extremely moved by her victory at the Golden Globes, and clearly had not paid attention to the charismatic actor sitting in front of her, hitting her shoulder with his hand as she passed. DiCaprio, who was laughing with his star buddies, was really surprised by this unexpected contact, as you can clearly see on his face. The incident is certainly totally spontaneous and without any ulterior motive on the part of the two actors, although some bad tongues could rather interpret it as proof that Lady Gaga is in love with the Oscar-winning actor. For in the slow motion of the video, it looks like the gesture is rather premeditated, doesn't it? So, has the young lady fallen in love with the star of Titanic? What do you think about that? Write us what you think about it in the comments. Before continuing, it is time to answer the question of the day, and today it is about general culture. In the previous sequence, you could see the inimitable expression on the face of actor Leonardo DiCaprio when he was pushed around by Lady Gaga. But what is the film that won the Oscar for Best Actor for the charismatic Leo? Is it Option A, Titanic, Option B, The Revenant, or finally, Option C, Django Unchained? Think carefully and write what you think is the right answer in the comments. Answer just before the end of the video. When a man tries to wear high heels, the result can be mind-boggling. That's what you're going to see in this hilarious footage from the British TV channel ITV. During the Loose Women show, actor John Barrowman decided to take up the challenge of the four hosts to put on high-heeled shoes designed for women. The 49-year-old actor showed the audience that he had a sense of humor and put his feet up on the table, displaying beautiful red high-heeled shoes with the most beautiful effect. Unfortunately for him, the actor from Desperate Housewives was about to lose his balance and fall backward, causing panic among the four hosts, who then started screaming, like chickens at the approach of a fox. Nevertheless, there was more fear than harm, as John Barrowman would soon get up with the smile of someone who had just been ridiculed on live television. Here is another story that proves that wearing stiletto heels is not very good for your health. Do you confirm, ladies? You should never play smart with a camel or a dromedary. It is well known, camelids are animals known for their very bad temper. The proof in pictures with this sequence coming from Kenya, whereas every year a festival dedicated to camels is celebrated, the Maralal International Camel Derby. Covering the event for a local television station, a reporter and his assistant had a bad idea of riding on one of the Derby camels. Alas, it can be said that the two men clearly chose the wrong camel. No sooner had they got on the animal's back than one could already see the very visible signs of the animal's anger, which probably could not stand being in the spotlight. But as soon as the camel drivers instructed the animal to get up, it got so abruptly on its feet that it sent the two journalists waltzing headlong. Luckily for them, neither man was injured, although they did eat some dust as they passed. American talk shows are a lot of fun, especially when they are broadcast live and a hilarious incident occurs. This footage comes to us from the show, Good Day LA, which offered a special Christmas and gift unwrapping episode on the American channel KTTV. During the show, host Lisa Breckenridge, star of the talk show, had decided to take a little ride on a mini electric scooter in the studio. Unfortunately, it was very difficult for her, as it turned out that the old host didn't know how to drive this kind of machine. So, she quickly lost control of the little electric motorcycle and ended up crashing against one of the big televisions on the set, which literally collapsed on her. Fortunately, the star host and Sunday driver will come out of it unharmed, with only a few minor scratches and a big scare. But her little jaunt to the county hospital finally allowed her to get caught up in a selfie with a handsome fire department rescuer, which will no doubt console her for her little incident on the air. Hugging someone while holding an open umbrella in your hand has never been a very good idea. This should be obvious, but if you ever doubted it, you can easily convince yourself of this with this sequence. These images were shot during NBC's 2019 New Year's Eve party, which brought together actress Leslie Jones and star model Chrissy Teigen and host Carson Daly for the Midnight Countdown to Midnight. After the countdown was over and the champagne toasts were finished, Chrissy Teigen embarked on a hugging session with actress Leslie Jones. A beautiful profusion of feelings, but the actress had completely forgotten that she was holding an open umbrella in her hand, one of the tips of which was going to go straight into the young model's eye. Poor Chrissy Teigen thus started her year with a sore eye, which is not a very good omen, especially if one is like her, a little too superstitious on the edges of the umbrella. And this is the sequence that will close today's video. It's the story of pop singer Katy Perry's famous cleavage, which made headlines in 2013. The sulfurous American singing star attended the Grammy Awards ceremony wearing a mint green Gucci dress that was extremely tight and sexy. But it wasn't so much the cut or color of the garment, or the prestigious brand that created it, that made the dress so popular. Because almost everyone had eyes only for Katy's generous bust measurement, which the Gucci dress only made even more attractive. Katy Perry's breasts have succeeded in capturing the attention of the public, but also of journalists and her fellow stars, relegating the Grammys to the background. Only veteran reporter Ryan Seacrest, who had the opportunity to interview her on the red carpet, didn't succumb to the temptation to take a closer look at the singer's generous attributes. If this sequence is not proof that women can literally rule the world, using a tiny part of their anatomy, then I don't know what is. And there you have it. Those were the 10 live sequences you won't be able to forget anytime soon. Which one made you laugh the most? Tell us in the comments which one you liked the most, and if you would have liked to see another sequence like it. If not for the quiz answer, it's answer B, and it was the movie The Revenant, in which Leonardo DiCaprio gave a literally mind-blowing performance, earning him the Oscar for Best Actor, to say the least. I hope that many of you found the answer.